Hi folks, MasakoX here. We're rounding off September's outing with Jocha with, of course, part 10. Jocha, in this story, started in April of this year, and it talks about the tale of the middle child of Bardock and Gine, the older sister of Goku, who was carted off to Saiyan Elite Academy at the recommendation of her elder brother Raditz. It was actually out of sheer jealousy, of course. And after 2 decades of working with them and Prince Vegeta, Jocha had been able to find her brother Kakarot out to pure circumstance and carved out a new home alongside him and the rest of the Dragon team. However, it had become very clear that things were not going to be going as easy as she would have thought. It wasn't just about getting stronger or picking off people one by one. As we saw in the last part, Jocha had to step up the ante as it was made clear to her that she could never relax, since the last time she had tried to do so, she got popped off in the back by Blonde Launch. After training the Dragon team in the arts of King Kai, the Spirit Bomb and the Kaioken, she and Piccolo had a sparring session, with the Big Green showcasing not only Kaioken times 20, but also the prototype of the Special Beam Cannon, a technique that he had been cooking up for quite a long time out of pure vengeance, and was shown off a few years sooner than it had been intended to in the original series. Jocha was amazed with this technique, and she could feel its power literally as it managed to singe a nice looking bruise and welt on her right leg. No matter though, even though it was a prototype, it could be handy. She had seen Kaioken pushed to times 20. This was worth it, and Piccolo's barometer was very handy indeed. But, unbeknownst to anyone, word about what they were doing, the Dragon Balls, and Jocha's location were leaked to the likes of Lord Frieza, by accident, from Nappa's scouter. Why had he kept it, I hear you ask? Well, it was of course for safety, in case Vegeta would want to train with them perhaps. Nappa had left the door open because, he had been the right man to Vegeta, but unfortunately he left the door open to the wrong crowd. Oops. For now though, Frieza was more caught up in the Dragon Ball side of things instead of this rogue Saiyan problem, so we're not going to be getting Frieza going to Earth and destroying it. But, that being said, one day, as Jocha and Goku were training on their own, the others having left to retire for the night, both of them were still trying to decipher the meaning of the vision that Jocha had experienced all those months ago on the brink of death. Sure, of course, it seemed easy on the surface. She'd had a vision about Frieza. But what was the importance of the message? What were they supposed to do? Frieza, the meaning of the meteor that destroyed the planet, the Saiyans. It was a mystery to them.
You don't suppose that Frieza was the one that destroyed planet Vegeta, sis?
Said Goku in an offhand manner one night, sort of exhausted in coming up with theories after all of these months. Jocha looked up to the stars of the slowly dimming sunset and pondered this. Maybe, but I don't understand why though. Why would Frieza eliminate us? We were his most important tools in governing the galaxy. To just purge the entire population in one go like that, it makes no sense. There had to be a reason, and a very good one. Goku, once again out of boredom and keen to move on from all of this pontification, because he didn't really like doing that sort of thing, mentioned this.
Well, maybe it's got something to do with that legendary Super Saiyan stuff.
Jocha sat bolt upright and looked at her brother with immense surprise.
How are you so perceptive? And yet you were the one out of the loop about Saiyans for the longest time.
He looked back.
What? It's not exactly hard. From what you said, Frieza's a very paranoid kind of guy, and any strong guys that he may meet or get wind of, well, they have to be destroyed. Not like me though. I wanna fight strong guys. As you know, that's why when you came to Earth, I was thrilled.
Jocha looked down at her feet.
Oh, I guess that makes a lot of sense. But if that's true then, who was the legendary Super Saiyan of legend?
She closed her eyes and tried to picture in her mind about who could possibly have been that legend. The father from that vision.
Hello? Jocha? Goku!
Shouted a familiar voice.
King Kai?
Said Goku casually.
What's up?
It's bad news, Goku. Very bad news. I don't know what you did to piss off Frieza, but you're in a whole lot of doo-doo. 5 of his pods are headed your way, and these pods are moving way faster than the ones that Vegeta and Nappa had. You wanna hand them off and pass again, like before?
Said King Kai with urgency, but Jocha stood up, knowing exactly who might be coming.
No, King Kai. We're gonna stand our ground and take them on here.
King Kai was surprised.
Really? You're gonna take on the Ginyu Force on your front door? It's kinda reckless, you know. Are you sure you can handle them?
Jocha nodded.
It's time I stopped running and just held firm. Besides, I think we got this.
She looked to Goku.
First thing in the morning, we step it up.
Goku, though, was confused.
Ginyu Force? Who are they? Oh, right, I hadn't said. The Ginyu Force are Frieza's elite fighting battalion, only called out for serious or personal missions to the Emperor. Either he thinks that we're very important people, or he thinks Vegeta is with us, but why would...
Jocha's eyes widened in horror. She had figured it out.
How they knew about this planet, about her, where they were. Nappa's scouter. She'd always moaned about him keeping it, but she thought that he turned the mic off. And why would he keep it? The Vegeta would never come back. His pride was too wounded, but he was so convinced. He held out so much hope and faith that he would return. But it was a fool's errand. And despite lambasting him before, a small part of him believed that the prince would see logic and learn to become stronger with them. Well, all that had taught them was that Nappa was an idiot of the highest regard, and that Earth's location was now known to the Frieza Empire. So, it would have been pointless to distract them like before. What else did they know? Give me your scouter, Nappa, Jiaocha ordered the next morning, having called the group to the plateaus of Paozu to train more.
I said I'm sorry. I didn't know I left the mic on. Again?
He's way past that now. He's been broken. He doesn't want to be with anyone. Can't you see that? Because of your blind hope, we're now lit up like a Christmas tree on Frieza's battle map. The Ginyu Force are coming to check us out. We need to be ready.
She let out a beam of energy and frustration, and it wasted an entire hill off in the distance. With a loud boom and shockwave, the group were consumed by said wave. Jocha was caught by surprise. Okay, that wasn't meant to be that strong. I mean, she hadn't let that much out energy. Or had she? She had to think for a second. Wait, all of this started around the time she'd been shot. She'd been having trouble with energy regulation, but not a bad thing, but it was just weird. And when she recovered, she'd felt this sense of vigor that she hadn't before, despite her general nerves. Of course, she thought, the Saiyan power, the Zenkai boost. She had been on the brink of death without realizing it, and then had been healed. She'd recovered. She'd powered up without even realizing it. That explained it! She motioned for Nappa to scan her with his scouter, and he did so. The beeps were growing faster and faster. He could feel it getting hot on top of his ear, and he winced in pain. And the last thing that it registered, before it then exploded on his ear, was 100,000. And it wasn't stopping. It was still climbing before it blew up. Nappa was stunned.
That's not that far off from Ginyu's power.
Jocha was astonished too. She hadn't checked out her power in a long time, since the first confrontation with the two Saiyans, in fact. But here, she smiled.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Time passed, and the 5 pods were soon approaching Earth. The group had suppressed their powers when King Kai had given them the warning that they approached the solar system, the 5 Ginyus. And upon them landing, conveniently and always in a wasteland, the group sidled their way toward the Ginyu Force. The group exited their pods and surveyed the scene. Sure enough, the tall, purple one was Captain Ginyu, and he did not care for this place.
Apart from the air being relatively clean, this place is rather primitive, wouldn't you say, men?
The rest of them triumphantly hollered in agreement because they're a bunch of yes-men. Krillin looked at all of them and gulped loudly.
Are you sure I'll be okay, Jocha? These powers are really big.
Jocha, who had acquired sensing energy more logically than Vegeta did because he just could in the actual anime, nodded.
Oh yeah, No problem. I'm kind of disappointed, actually. These goons still haven't grown in strength. They don't seem nearly as scary. Not gonna lie, I almost wish that launch hadn't shot me. Might have been more of a challenge. Her Saiyan instincts were kicking up again. A Saiyan with the lust for power and challenges? Ooh, she hadn't felt like this in a while. The rest of the group was shocked with the bravado on display. And it came to a head when Jocha and Goku met with the group.
Good afternoon, you, said a very surprised and shocked Ginyu, not expecting a welcoming committee so willingly coming into their midst. Have you, come to, die? He was thrown for a second there.
Come on, Kenton, don't be scared by these bozos,
said a very confident Jace. Berta, who had whipped around behind them because he's the fastest in the universe, spotted Jocha's tail.
What's this? A tail? Black spiky hair? We got ourselves a couple of Saiyans, boss!
Raccoon cannot believe our luck. Lord Frieza was correct. Raccoon is very happy.
Do you doubt him for a moment there, you big oaf?
Shouted a little green alien jerk who was probably not working on it.
Calm down, men. It's only a couple of Saiyans. There'll be plenty of time to figure out these two's stupidity in taking us on with their...
He tapped a scouter.
meager power levels.
Wait. He spotted Jocha's hair and looked her up and down. You're the Saiyan that disappeared from Vegeta's squadron. Jocha, was it? I never thought we would have found you. We pegged you for being dead. Not one for battles, I recall from your file. No kills, despite your real power level. So, whatever it is you are doing in hiding and masking your energy, cut the chicanery and fight us with your 10,000 power level. The group then let out a laugh. A piddly little power level of 10,000 was nothing to them. Well, I mean, except Goldo. But Jocha complied and smiled, and glowed a very familiar shade of red.
Kaioken times 4!
She yelled.
Kyle, what? Ah!
Said the captain, before a massive hole in his torso was created. The group was stood in horror as Jocha pulled back her arm.
Reality check, Ginyu. I think your file on me is out of date. By a lot.
Goku? Goku nodded, and powered up also, letting loose a Kaio Kamehameha, which ultimately vaporized the captain. This couldn't be happening. Captain Ginyu wasted in 2 attacks? Jace and Berta were not sure what to do at this point. What have you done? Was all that the Brenchin could muster.
I've learned a lot of things while here, fellas,
Jocha said with a lot of swagger, feeling incredibly powerful right now.
Relying on numbers and machines to tell you how strong you are?
It's kind of stupid.
Gut feelings are the way to go. But now, I think it's time that you go.
She motioned her hand in front of Jace's face.
I'm giving you to the count of 5 to get off this planet and leave with your lives. Or else, I'll kill you all where you stand.
Berta was flabbergasted.
But, no! You've never killed anyone before!
Jocha looked over to him.
I've never killed anyone that didn't deserve it.
Raccoon Scouter is picking up everything that you are saying. If you are to kill us now, the rest of the Frieza Empire will actually decimate your planet without a second thought.
Yes, exactly. What makes you think that you'll actually go along with this? It would be better for you to come into our custody and save this planet from being wiped out by your Saiyan bravado.
Okay, guys, said Jace, really scared right now. I don't think she's bluffing. Goku flared his power a little bit, which was the cue for the others to come in and begin their attack. At once, Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Piccolo, Krillin, and Chaozu came zooming toward the group. Thus began a massive battle for the Ginyu Force's lives. This was a lot tougher than they had expected. Goldo thought that maybe, despite his low power level, he could have gotten the jump though. He managed to get himself a fair distance away, in front of as many people as he could, and let out a huge laugh.
Ha ha! You fools! You're right where I want you!
They turned around to face him and saw the alien dramatically starting to breathe in. But before he could close his mouth and activate his time freeze, he found out something, that he couldn't actually begin the technique. He couldn't move his mouth. A blue glow surrounded it. Goldo was trying to talk but couldn't. Tenshinhan smiled. Good word, Chaozu, but Why? Chaozu smiled.
You can stop time. I got a sense with these things.
You see? That's why Chaozu's worth keeping around. They all nodded in agreement. That was too close. Shouted Goldo in panic, before he was then blasted away by a very smug Yamcha. Thanks, buddy, said Yamcha, and Chaozu gave him the thumbs up, feeling very good about being useful. The rest of the battle was relatively easy, with them all using Kaioken to different degrees to slowly whittle down the Ginyu Force, or what was left of them. This was too easy, they thought, but this had proved Jocha right. All of that training was worth something. The only person who hadn't fought with them was Nappa. Why? Hey! Shouted Jocha to where they had been hiding.
I don't need the pity party here, Nappa. Come down here and face me like a Saiyan.
Nappa sighed and flew down to them and looked very nervous.
I couldn't do it. I was too ashamed.
Ashamed? Why are you ashamed?
Why do you think? It's because of me that they're here and everything going wrong. Now Earth's known to Frieza and he's gonna kill us all.
Goku looked around at the remains of the Ginyu Force.
I don't think things have gone wrong. In fact, kind of the opposite. We've taken down Frieza's elite force.
I wouldn't know about that, Kakarot.
Just then, Krillin pointed out something from Ginyu's pod. Guys? Think you might want to take a look at this. There was a green screen in the pod, stating that some new messages had arrived for Captain Ginyu to read. They pressed the button, and the message spewed forth, coming from a green-skinned man with blue hair and a very fetching face. The message read out some instructions that, after they were done on Earth, that they would report to a planet called Namek and await further information, should they be needed, just in case the locals resisted in their pursuit of the Dragon Balls. Coordinates were included. Nappa nodded.
I see. You're going for the source.
The source? Said Jocha.
Yeah, the homeworld of Namekians. Their Dragon Balls are the strongest in the galaxy, and if I know Frieza, like you, Jocha, he'll want the best.
Piccolo was stunned, as was Kami via telepathy. They could actually be going to their homeworld, and stopping Frieza. The quest for Namek and its saga was on. But that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.